Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the new She Suite Trap Queens Redefining Success Part 2. I have a return guest. I don't even know if I can refer to this person as a guest because they are not a guest in my home. They are someone who has gotten me together. Yeah, I paid for the abuse. She'll say it's not abuse, but it was. I am joined back by leadership strategist and executive coach, my coach, who does not like to be called coach, but whatever. That is truly what it is. 757 girly, gardener, 5K runner, awesome auntie, and one of the kindest, most genuine, get your stuff together people I have ever met. I am blessed to know this person. And that's what she said behind before we went live. She said, I'm blessed by the best. And I said, okay, we're going to rhyme today. We're going to rhyme today. Hi, Kandia. How are you?
Hello. I am good to be here. I'm so thrilled to be having this conversation with you today, and especially during this time of Women's History Month. I can't thank you enough for this. Welcome back for this invite.
Yes, welcome back. All right, we're going to jump right in. We got some new questions. So, folks are going to learn some new stuff today. Success is often defined in linear terms, like what's your job title, what's your salary, other things like that. How do you define and measure success? And how has that definition shifted over the 15 plus years you've been in leadership development?
Oh, wow. Like most of us, 15 years ago, I was taught to define success by the number of things that I achieved, stages I've had the opportunities to sit on or be on. And it was always about this chase of a goal and accomplishing the goal. And of course, that goal is a moving target. And sooner or later, you recognize that you're exhausted, really not from the work, but from the chase. And so for me, right now, in this season of my life, success is defined by one, freedom. I get to be here with you today, and I didn't have to ask anyone for permission. I got the schedule, I got a bunch of dates, and I said, let me choose which day I can engage with Kirsten on this podcast platform without asking anyone for approval. So the first thing for me is freedom. And then the second part, I would say impact. So there's no greater feeling than when someone says to me, Kandia, because of you, I think differently. Because of you, I approach that conversation or that project differently. Because of you, when I was met with resistance or fear, I thought about your tools, I thought about something that you would say, and I worked through it. Even if so I used to, and I still do, mentor quite a few people. I also do some executive coaching. Even if someone says, Kandia, I traveled to South Africa because you were about that travel life
Yeah.
at one point. And because of you, I started to travel and explore on my own. That is what success means to me. That like really lights me up and just allows me to thank God that I am in this space where people are now thinking and doing and believing differently. So that's what success is for me: freedom and impact.
Freedom and impact. I like that. I'm going to make sure I get that clip. StreamYard doesn't always listen to me when I say clip that, but clip that. Okay. So, on to our next topic of trust. You work with leaders in some of the most high stakes environments like healthcare, the US Navy, corporate boardrooms. How do you establish trust quickly enough to do the real work of helping someone examine how they show up under pressure, especially when that person's used to being the one in charge?
So this question's layered for me. And primarily I play in two spaces. So executive coaching, where I may have to work with someone one-on-one. I also do a lot of talks and workshops and all the things. So the first thing is energy, believe it or not. One of the things that I believe is that people buy into the energy of your presence before they buy into the power of your words. So how I enter a room, or even how I pop on Zoom. So you asked me a question before we popped on. How are you today? I'm blessed by the best. So that is setting a different sort of energy. Even in my workshops, I usually play music. Even for my coach, I play music when you hop on, and I speak to people before they speak to me. I ask them about something that they're wearing or something that they're drinking. So it's shaping the energy and the tone of, oh, I can let up a little bit. And then the second part of that, whether it's a workshop or training that I am conducting, or a one-to-one conversation, I lead with curiosity. So I ask questions that allow me to learn more about your everyday reality and what you're challenged with. And then I'm able to sort of connect the dots to how I may be able to help you. So I may say something like, I recently worked with HRSD, and they were struggling with something similar to what you're going through right now. Here's the work that we've done that may help you. So then they begin to identify, like, oh, okay, so she's aware of my challenge here, and she has some ways to work through it. And then the third most important, I wouldn't say it's most important, but like you said, leaders who are used to carrying everything and carrying this role where they have to be the fixer. I think approaching or being radically honest. And what that means is I want to be the first one in the room to tell the truth. And so I may say, right now, I'm in a season of delivering workshops around lead without losing it. And so I am going to be radically honest about one of the ways that I may lose my composure, focus, or even just my clarity is simply because I'm a woman in perimenopause. And some days, the hormones, they have an agenda of their own. And so I'm working through right now. Here's how I lead without losing it. And generally, particularly when I have a lot of women in the room, they overstand. They're like, okay, wait a minute now. I didn't know you was going to talk about that. But since you brought it up, here's
Can we put the fan on because I'm hot? Yes.
Here's something, Kandia. Here's something else that I'm struggling with. And then they begin to see that the trust is there. So that's 3 micro moments of trust that I am very intentional about approaching individuals, whether it's in a group setting or one-to-one, so that the trust is there.
Okay.
In the beginning.
I love that. And that's a great segue into my next question, which is about your lead without losing it framework, which is built around the idea that leadership breaks down in relationships in those moments of conflict, pushback, and change. So, how do you help leaders build and or repair relationships when pressure has already caused damage? And what does sustainable connection look like inside an organization?
Okay, so let me think about the first question. Well, we first have to understand that from an individual perspective, you can't repair a relationship in the same emotional state that broke that relationship down.
Okay.
So we got to get clear about the circumstances. We even have to get clear not only about the circumstances that led to this place where trust has been broken, but even if there was a specific situation, what are the thoughts and assumptions that you brought in, and then how did that shape the conversation? So it's kind of like a discovery almost for yourself. And once you get to that point where you could possibly own some part of it, right, where you may have contributed to that conversation going left when you wanted it to go right. And from that point, you can re-enter, let's say, the period where you seek to repair that relationship by saying, hey, I've been thinking a lot about our conversation. And I really want to hear from my perspective, here's what I thought, but I'm interested to hear your perspective. And I would say too that if you have a prior relationship with that person, one of the rules that I live by is the 30-second rule of conversations by John Maxwell. And what that means is within the first 30 seconds, you show appreciation for someone's time, effort, something that you recognize them for. So I may say, hey, I've been thinking a lot about our conversation. And one of the things that I could appreciate about you is you're so detail oriented. You know how to connect the dots. And this is why I really want to try to better understand how we can work through this issue. And you allow that person, you invite that person to share whatever their perspectives are, and then you build from there. Okay. Now, the second part of your question, repeat that for me, the sustainable connection.
Yeah, so once the damage has been done, what does sustainable connection look like in that organization? Like, how can you tell that it's repaired?
I believe that every organization, every leader within an organization has a responsibility to create micro moments of psychological safety. How are you creating opportunities for people to share a difference of opinion, to share what's not working, to speak up and say something different, something other than what you are thinking? I had a leader in a healthcare organization. She implemented a Fix It Friday. And Fix It Friday was an opportunity for her staff to talk about things that they needed help with, things that were no longer working. And you think about it this way, most of the routines that we follow, particularly in a workplace, were developed to solve a problem that no longer exists. And okay. So you just keep doing the same thing. And employees are like, why are we doing this in 12 steps when it really should only take 2 steps? Why are we continuing to have these meetings when they're no longer needed? And so the idea behind the Fix It Friday, again, is an opportunity for you as a leader, especially if you're leading several people at once. You don't have line of sight into everything that's happening. And sometimes you just get so caught up in the motions that you don't pause to reflect and think, do we still need to operate in this way? So your employees or the people around you are your best resources to share that with you. So I believe sustainable connection looks like micro moments of psychological safety, not just the quarterly or yearly survey, employee wellness.
I don't like those surveys.
I figured you wouldn't. So what are you doing daily and weekly to create those micro moments of psychological safety with your people or for your people? Mm-hmm.
As it usually goes, you and other guests answered my next question in the previous question. Because I asked 20 questions in one. We know this. Like, that's just who I am. That's my style. But I'm going to read it anyway because I was very proud of this question. You know how it's written. Other people don't. And some people will catch it. Other people won't. But by the end of this conversation, they will know what they were supposed to catch. So I'm going to do it anyway. You talk candidly with a K.
Listen, I hate when my own words are throwing back on me. I get a little nervous. Like, no, did I say that?
I thought I was so clever. Just candid conversation.
Yes.
I thought I was so clever. Anyway, you talk candidly about blind spots, pressure reveals, avoiding tough conversations, over-explaining, reacting harshly. How do you guide leaders through that self-reckoning without making them defensive? And then how do you hold yourself to that same level of accountability?
So 2 things. One, I try to be intentional about not approaching a leader from a place of judgment. Again, curiosity is always queen for me. So leading with curiosity to have let me just put it out there. You got to have an own your BS moment. BS, however, stands for blind spots and belief systems. And so when you think about that, one, we're all human. And so anyone who works with me one-on-one, listen, we're human. We're going to do human things like make mistakes, not be able to see things coming. So it's more about me engaging in a discussion with them about some alternative, like what else is what else do you believe was possible other than the thought that
Mm.
you had about that specific person? What are some other things that was quite possible there? So really approaching it again from a place of curiosity, also discussing some of our belief systems that we possibly need to unlearn because now we recognize that those belief systems are no longer serving us in the moment. And so I think that it's necessary to, I always say this, questions, whether I'm coaching someone or coaching myself, chances are your questions are your bridge to clarity, connection, and confidence, right? Connection first and foremost with yourself. Sometimes we think that we're stuck in a situation, and I don't necessarily believe you're ever stuck. I believe you're just not asking the right question. So it comes down to asking yourself a better question about that particular situation, or even when it comes to, I can't figure things out right now, or how am I going to be able to fix all of this? Well, the better question is, one, maybe it doesn't have to be you to fix it, right? Who can I get to help me fix this the situation? And then the second part could be, what can I do to fix it, a piece of it today? You don't have to fix the whole thing. We overwhelm ourselves thinking, how am I going to be able to fix this thing? Well, what can you do to contribute to that fix today? Let's just think about that moment. So I think it comes down to, when you think about your blind spots, when you think about some of the situations of overwhelm or frustration, it really comes down to asking yourself better questions.
I love that. I'm going to get Sarah to nudge you. She does a better job than I do at that. Because we need some BS merch immediately. Sarah and I will have it on. Sarah and I, like, I'll be with a mug with some TA coffee shots, HR coffee shots, some BS, no BS today. Okay.
Yes.
Look at your blind spots. You need to lean into your belief systems because not today, baby.
Not today. So fun fact, I talked to Sarah earlier. So yes to
Oh,
that. Yes to that.
okay. All right, cool. All right. Whew. We're on to proactive. So most organizations, they wait until the team fractures, until somebody loses it, what I like to call the leader flames out, or the culture becomes toxic before they call you and say, hi, I need some leadership development training or coaching. What proactive steps should organizations and individual leaders be taking right now? So before the pressure hits, before that kind of communication breaks down, what's one skill that matters most? Because I don't want you to give away your entire framework for free.
The one skill that matters most, I would say, is listening.
Okay.
Listening, I would say this: listening saves lives, deals, and relationships.
Mm.
It does. When you think about the power of listening, and I think that employees who are not actively creating methods, mechanisms, vehicles to actively listen, not only to their employees, but even to the world around them. And a lot of the times when I think about even lead without losing it, sometimes we're not losing it because of what's happening at work. We're losing it because of what we're carrying into work. So even organizations who are not listening to the outside world and understanding how that may impact your inside world does a disservice to their employees. And a lot of what we're seeing, and you think about, different studies that come out, Women in the Workplace study, you think about the workplace report, they all talk about well-being, what employees are, even at the management level, are struggling and challenged with. And a lot of that has to do with inside the workplace, but a lot of it has to do outside of the workplace. And so because employees, managers, and above, we spend the significant amount of our time in the workplace, you can't ignore the outside and only focus on the inside. So I think that listening is one of the most kind of underrated things that most organizations and companies are missing right now.
Okay. I would have to agree. Um, we do a lot of time, we spend a lot of time talking, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of time trying to get our point across, but we don't spend a lot of time actively. You taught me that actively listening.
Yes.
Like not just shut your mouth, but shut your brain from telling your mouth what you're about to say before I even finish.
Because
Okay.
listening, there's levels to listening. One,
Mm-hmm.
are you listening to some of the thoughts that may impact your words and how you show up in a conversation? Are you
Mm-hmm.
listening again to your respective audience or and how that audience may be shifting or changing some of the things they're struggling with? And then there's the outside world. So there's multiple levels of listening. And like to your point, people just want to talk and send emails and memos and all the things. But that's a story for another day.
Yes, it is. It is. Okay. So we're at the last question in the main section
Mhm.
before we get to the rapid fire. And this is a question you've never answered before. Like most, I think most of this was new information. All right. So thinking about our theme, the new She Suite, and the work that you do helping leaders show up with clarity,
Mhm.
credibility, and composure,
Mhm.
what does it mean to you that more women are stepping into high pressure leadership roles and rewriting what strength looks like from the inside out?
Oh, I love it. Or many levels. So I touched on this a little bit with Sarah earlier today. And for me, what I love about this era, and thanks to social media could be a double-edged sword, but thanks to social media, I see a lot more women talking about it. For me, life and levels, it's less about leveling up and more about lightening up. I think that women are more so saying, okay, I'm going to outsource this. I'm going to take the easy way out. Sis, what is the cheat code? We're resting. We're not performing today. We're resting. So the beauty of the space that I believe women such as myself, we're in right now is it's even in the career space. Life is less about leveling up and more about lightening the load. We got to delegate to elevate. Okay. We got to recognize that we can rest, not because we deserve it, but just simply because, yeah, I said that wrong. We can rest simply because we need rest, not because we worked hard and we need to rest, simply because that's just part of being a human being. So I think it's important that uh, any woman who's striving or who's at that level of success that they've dreamed about for all so long, I see many women now lightening up instead of wanting to kind of level up per se.
Yeah, I think our generation specific, particularly, is like we gotta hustle hard. Like everything was hustle, 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 hustle. Now it's like no, like we're tired.
Tired. You know, thanks to
No.
therapy, therapy, part of the lesson that I carry from therapy is I used to say this all the time that I was tired or exhausted. And 9 times out of 10, I wasn't exhausted from the work. I was exhausted trying to prove myself from the work,
Mm,
prove myself through the work. That striving, that mental load that you carry, that 9 times out of 10 contributes to that feeling of exhaustion, frustration, overwhelm, and all the things. And so knowing that sometimes my 80% is going to be the 80% and it's going to be enough for the day. That's me walking into the day saying, I'm all about lightening up, not leveling up today. And
okay.
here's what I'm going to do to make sure that that happens.
New merch. That's two. Okay. It's time.
I love it.
Lighten up.
Send me my action items after this call.
Oh, I will. Listen. If I can figure out how to get back into Kajabi, you are in trouble. Because I was start putting tasks.
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's time for rapid fire. Who-
Okay. I'm
I want
always nervous about these, but okay.
no. I want different answers. These are fun. These are
Okay.
fun, and it's less of them. It's not 17,000.
Okay. All
Who's
right.
who's a well-known and or lesser known historical or contemporary woman who inspires you and we should learn more about?
Oh, Gladys West.
Excuse me.
Gladys West. So I recently learned about her and I went down the rabbit hole on the Google streets and YouTube streets watching her speak about her journey. She is the woman, a mathematician, but she's responsible for creating the foundational framework for the GPS. And
Mm-hmm.
so even if you think about what our lives would be like today without the GPS, just think. Like I can't go to 5 miles, okay, away. And I'm like, let me put it in my GPS and see how to get there. I don't know these streets and street names and all the things. So thank God for Gladys. Now, Gladys has since passed on, but I think there are a few things that I love about her journey. One, that she was a hidden figure.
Mm-hmm.
If you would have Googled founders of the GPS and all the things 5 years ago, her name would not have been included in that. Okay. And secondly, Gladys, for me, had the posture of someone who it's never too late. At 70 years old, she obtained her PhD at 70 after having went through a stroke and all the things. Just amazing. And she was a hidden figure during the time when there were a lot of protests and demonstrations around segregation and all the things. So you think about the mindset of a person who she wasn't allowed to really participate in those demonstrations because she worked for the government at the time. So she had to be sort of like a silent, protest and just showing that I'm a woman, I'm a Black woman, and I have something to contribute. I'm worthy enough to be here, right? Or not worthy enough, but I deserve to be here. So Gladys West, hands down.
All right, I love it.
Mhm.
Ooh, what's the best piece of career advice you received from another woman?
I wouldn't say that this is career advice, but it relates to your career. I'm gonna shout out my grandmother. Rest in peace to my grandmother. She always said, treat yourself. And I think, especially for women who work in uh, male dominated spaces or work in spaces where you're working hard and you're going unnoticed, we often tend to want to wait for someone else to recognize us. And I think that you need to embrace a habit of treating yourself simply because you deserve it, not because it's attached to an outcome or an accolade that you're waiting for someone to give you. But even in your very own career, treat yourself. And I realized, even as a child, and hearing my grandmother say that, and even my mom, she says it now. My mother told me to treat myself. It could be anything happening. My mother told me to treat myself. But I realized how important it is to treat yourself without it being attached to anything outside of you. You have to be the one to do that. Oftentimes we wait for other people to celebrate us or acknowledge us or recognize us, and
Mm-hmm.
then we go for the treatment. No, treat yourself just because.
All right, then.
I'm gonna send you an email. Kirsten, did treat yourself today.
Did not receive. This mailbox is full. I'm just teasing you. Like every time, listen, like you're probably one of the only people that I can't tease, like that I can't do my little, because I'll send you a something like, well, I think it's real funny how you said this to them, and then you give me something extra, something different. I'm like, that's not how that was supposed to work. You were supposed to let me complain. You were supposed to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, sugar. Oh, you right, you right." But no, you don't allow that.
No, listen, in my Iyanla voice, not on my watch.
Well, the next time I am someplace and they're like, well, Kirsten, why are you doing this? Because I treat myself.
Treat yourself, okay? Treat
Treat
yourself. That is the
myself.
best
Okay.
career advice. Treat yourself.
This might be the answer. So if you wrote a book describing your career so far, what would the title be?
Oh, show up anyway.
Okay. I like that.
Show up anyway. Yes, that
Okay.
would definitely be the title. Despite all of the things going on in your head telling you you can't do it, you're not good enough, this isn't the time. Show up anyway. Mhm.
That's probably what I've been doing for the past.
Mhm.
Mm, I can't even count months. Uh, Maybe year. Anyway, what is your guilty?
Why you need to treat yourself just because of what you just said. That is the reason why you need to treat yourself. But
Okay.
anywho, that's a story for
Okay.
another day. Just wanted
It
to.
is. It is. We're not doing this. We don't beat up Kirsten on her show. Please take that offline. Please take that offline. What is your guilty pleasure when it comes to indulging in women centered pop culture, whether it's reality TV, a book, a binge worthy series, gardening, a movie, self care, a recreational activity, running a 5K? Uh,
Oh gosh, I would say I have several things. Sometimes it's married to medicine. Sometimes it's married to medicine.
okay.
Uh, Sometimes it is, Kennedy Ryan's Skyland series of books. It's 3 of them. Can't get enough. I forget the other 2. But I love that series of books that she's published. She also has a new book out, but I love anything Kennedy Ryan.
Okay.
Also, I'm loving African dance right now. So African dance and yoga. But I will say African dance allows me to, I feel like I'm reconnecting with like my 6-year-old self. I just have fun in that class. I look like a fish out of water. It's so embarrassing. I'm so glad no one pulls out their phone in that class. But I have fun. I
I'm
have
sure you look fine.
no, I don't. I have fun.
Oh,
I laugh at myself. And it is the most freeing feeling ever. So I would say those are a few of my, uh, and I'm a crime show junkie. Yeah, that too. But anywho, those are it.
we can talk about that offline.
Yes,
Crime shows, I love them.
yes.
What is your go-to song, songs, or music genre when you want to hype yourself up to conquer the day?
Oh, so I'm thinking about the first question you asked me about redefining my success, and it's like I've redefined music. 15 years ago, it was definitely Lil Kim. Okay, you want to rub go a hex on your whole family, but now I'm a Cleo soul. Nothing on me.
Oh,
Nothing on me gets my mind right, but it's a different vibe. So Cleo soul, nothing on me. Uh, Handpan music. You can tell my nervous system is totally different because I love handpan music or Cleo soul, just that neo soul type of vibe. I don't even
mm-hmm.
have words to music anymore. Just kind of the subtle flow of low vibes and things of that sort. But Cleo Soul, Nothing on Me
Nothing.
is a quick track, but it definitely puts me in the headspace to hop on screen, do a podcast, workshop, hop on stage, that sort of thing. It gets me there.
Okay.
Mhm.
Before I let you go from recording, please tell the people where they can find you and shout out any upcoming initiatives, events, anything that you want folks to pay attention to and where they can find you.
So you can find me on the social media streets, LinkedIn, Instagram, Threads. I'm mostly engaged on Threads. You can
Okay.
definitely find me there. Also, shout out to my podcast peeps, Candid Conversations. You could definitely, I release a new episode every Monday to get your mind right for the week. And it's 15 minutes of not only mindset stuff, but the actions that you can take so that you can show up in a more clear, confident, and composed way for the week ahead. And lead without losing it, a micro workshop that I'm doing in April. So if you'd like to present more clear and composed, you want to constantly, you want to move away from that overwhelm and frustration pattern, you want to move past feelings of self-doubt and frustration and all the things, join me for that experience April 30th, I believe, but I'll send you the link
Okay.
so people can register.
I love it. Thank you so much for taking time out of your favorite season, which has just started, the first day of spring,
Mhm.
to come and chat with me and share all your wisdom and let me complain about not being your favorite. But thank you, everyone, for watching another episode of the New Shui Suite. Whew. Trap Queens Redefining Success. Again, this is Kandia Johnson. I'm Kirsten Greggs, and we will see you next time.
Yes, thank you.
Bye bye.